Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Today, I will present about the Group 6 simulation circuit. So, according to the Malaysian standard, we will be using the supply frequency of 50 Hz. When we run the circuit, we obtain the V peak to peak VRMS for the voltage across the capacitor. So, for the voltage across the capacitor, we obtain that it has, for the peak to peak, it is 478.27 volt, while the VRMS is 169.71 volt. For the current across the capacitor is 12.214 ampere, and the which is the current peak to peak, while the current IRMS is 4.3204 ampere. Next, the voltage across the load can be obtained that the V peak to peak for the load is 162.59 volt and the VRMS is 57.488 volt, while the current peak to peak is 11.51 ampere and the IRMS is 4.696 ampere. And while for the inductor is the voltage peak to peak is 79.916 volt and the VRMS is 28.284 volt, while the current is 1.9427 ampere and the IRMS is 689.37 milliampere. So here is the graph obtained for all of the output voltage obtained from the simulation. So we can divide this obtained graph by the load, capacitor and inductor. So this is the voltage. The green one represents the voltage across the V load and the red one represents the current across the load. So the peak voltage of the load is 81.295, while the peak for the current load is 5.755 ampere. For the current across the capacitor, which is the orange one, the peak is 6.107, while the peak for the voltage, which is the purple one, is 239.135 volt. And lastly, for the inductor, the voltage across the inductor, which is the gray one, the peak is 39.958 volt, and the yellow represent the current across the capacitor across the inductor, which are the peak is 0.97135 ampere. The peak obtained is just by dividing the V peak to peak from the probe, dividing it by 2. So that is all from me. Thank you.